Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Andrew McLaughlin with the National Truck Driving School, and I want to welcome everybody to our live Tuesday night webinar. We have a lot of people still signing in this evening. Before we get started tonight, I would like to introduce our host for this evening. There's Mr. Rob Nelson, and Rob has been working at National Training now for a little over 34 years. Rob has helped thousands of men and women get into the trucking industry. So let me introduce Rob Nelson. How are you tonight, Rob?
Pleasure always to be here with you, Andrew. I'm fine. Thanks very much.
Excellent. Also on our webinar tonight is Mr. Rob Sieberneck, and Rob is a driver with JBS Transport out of Greeley, Colorado, and Rob is going to talk to us tonight about JBS and about his company and about employment opportunities. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Hey, pretty good, Andrew. It's JBS Carriers, also USA. That's how they name it.
Oh, JBS Carriers, very good. Okay. And just before we get started tonight, I want to go ahead and just do a little bit of housekeeping. And the first thing I want you to see, everybody on that control panel, they're going to see a little menu like this, a little control panel, and all the different things that you can do with this we're having tonight. You have a list of your attendees. Tag out there that you can actually close up your little panel. So
You're breaking up, Andrew. Okay.
Okay, so that it doesn't break up, so that you can close up your control panel. What I want you to see on that little grab tag, though, there's a little hand. I'm going to ask everybody online with us tonight to go ahead and just raise their hand. This will let us know that you can hear us okay. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Tom, Peter. Everybody go ahead and just click on that little hand. And for any reason you want to get a hold of Rob or I tonight, you can use that little hand control in order to get our attention. Okay. Below that, you're going to see the little microphone icon. Okay. And if you want to ask questions, we are in the listen-only mode for the first part of the webinar this evening. But we're going to open up the microphones. We're going to open up the telephone line so that you can ask questions live. If you don't have a microphone, use the telephone feature, and you can call in and talk to us live. There's an audio panel there that has that. Then I want you to see the questions panel, the third one from the bottom. We use this as a chat board. So if you don't have a microphone and you want to ask a question, feel free to use the questions tab. Okay, so that is a little bit of the housekeeping. And again, let's start out, Rob, with a little bit of an overview. And the overview that we're going to talk about is tonight's webinar. And we're going to talk about a little bit about who we are. We're going to talk about the trucking industry. Rob Sieberneck will talk about JBS. We're going to talk about our truck driving school as well. And then, of course, what we can do for you. We have a lot of people still to get information about the trucking industry. Rob, go ahead. You start out with who we are.
Sure. Oh, I'm always proud to be this. Talking about our school course. We were incorporated back in 1978 as a proprietary post-secondary vocational educational institute, and we follow those lines strictly, of course. And this is what we're doing now, training and getting the very best from our students and going into some of the best companies in the United States. We've always been committed to providing strong curricula. That's been our number one priority, of course, and programs emphasize practical, usable skills, and this is blended with the relevant general education foundation. We have a caring environment with personal attention, a very close faculty-student interaction, and that's for sure. We've always been known for that. We run 3 to 4 students per 1 instructor. That's our guideline. And, of course, our big thing is our open-door admission policy. Always been that way.
Now,
Andrew, you want to talk about that? You can ask me that.
Yeah, Rob, talk about the open door policy. I mean, most schools, they call them the Monday schools or these other schools where you have to be there on a certain day, a certain time. National is a little bit different, isn't it?
It certainly is, Andrew, and the beauty of our school is that we're going to do the lessons before you get to school. In other words, what I always call terminology. knowing about the equipment, knowing about the companies you're going to be working for, knowing about the interaction of the carriers and what they're looking for as individual companies, getting into transmissions, getting into background, loading procedures. Oh, there's so many different things. And we're not talking about getting the permits, entirely different.
Okay,
Sure.
so what you're saying is our students will do a lot of the book work or that classroom work at home at their own pace, and
At their own pace, Andrew.
and then at some point they're going to do a hands-on training.
Absolutely, and the nice part of it is they can start this book work or an online program at any time, at their convenience. And we're not going to tell them when you have to get to school. That's a normal procedure. We let it be known that things have to be done, at their own pace. And of course, we've been Florida's oldest private truck driving school, founded in 1978. State-of-the-art training facilities. Now, this is a little view. We're going to get into a better view, but this is coming in from a plane, and you can see the 350-acre facility that we've got there. We have our own mile-and-a-quarter multi-lane highway, which ensures safer and more efficient training. And we've graduated over 34,000 students since 1978. And it's been a real tight, close interaction with our students all these years, and we still keep in contact with them too, don't we, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. And I'm looking at that aerial view, 350 acres, much bigger than most of these schools, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing of it is, it's not just going a little back alley driving school. So there's so many of them. I think majority of the United States are that way. We're nationally accredited through Distance Education and the Training Council, the DECC, fully licensed by the Florida's Commission for Independent Education. Of course, very proud of that. And of course, we're approved for training veterans, the Dante approved program. And these are things that we've stuck by our guidelines. We're licensed by the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, of course, here in Florida.
Now, Rob, aren't all of the schools accredited?
Oh, not at all, Andrew. I think there's 3 in the United States are accredited. I believe we're the only one in Florida that's accredited. So just spread that over, the other 49 states. That's quite a reputation we have here. And what this all means to you? Well, certainly, it's value and employer recognition. In other words, folks, everybody knows national training for wherever you live. It's just been that way.
Now, I always ask the question, why do students travel from all over the country to attend national training? Rob, online tonight we have people from New York, from Pennsylvania, from Texas, from California, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia. Why do they come from all over the country?
Well, this is the reason for it. As I said, there's CDL mills out there, and this is what they advertise very best. But when people get there, it's not the very best. They're very disappointed, and they end up not getting jobs because they're not an accredited school. It may not be what they seem, but they only teach the test, and that's what the CDL mill does. We go beyond that. Community college, that's very good too. The programs are less expensive and take longer to complete, but you're losing a lot of valuable pay, and that's the key ingredient. We want to get you going. We have the companies. We've got more companies sometimes than we have students, and that's the beauty of our school. We offer a high-value education for a reasonable tuition in a short amount of time, and we're very proud to have Rob here tonight just to talk about his company because they're very particular. Nationally accredited and recognized, of course. This is the thing. The state-of-the-art training facility and equipment, absolutely. And, of course, the most up-to-date training program that you'll find in the U.S. Convenient financing packages, yes, and we'll get into that also very shortly. These are all the key things.
Now, when they talk about this,
and
too,
of course,
go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, we have the most hands-on training in the shortest period of time. Remember, folks, you're doing your bookwork prior. So this way we can concentrate starting day one, you're behind the wheel. You're training above and beyond just getting the CDL. And, of course, the other things that are followed suit is successful placement assistance program, which many trucking companies recruit from national. During a training session, there's usually 4 or 5 different carriers here interviewing students, which we're very happy. We could have more, but we don't want to take it away from the students, that's for sure.
Right. Now, at National, it's not just about passing that CDL test. As Rob said, we do all the book work, the classroom work at home, and then it's all hands-on training. Most of the other mom-and-pop schools, you're going to get 15 to 30 hours of hands-on with the equipment. At National, you're getting 120 hours. So it's a lot more than just passing the road test. We really actually teach you to drive the truck so that you can pass any test. Rob, you know, and Bob knows, you know, every year out there on the road, it's a test.
I'm sorry, Andrew, to break. Yeah, okay.
Okay. The right training means job security. Now, we have about 140-something companies that we work with on a regular basis. And tonight we're very pleased to have with us JBS Transport out of Greeley, Colorado, JBS Carriers out of Greeley, Colorado. And I want to introduce our special guest tonight is Robert Sieberneck. And Rob works with JBS. And Rob is also a graduate of National Training. Rob graduated just about 2 years ago. Rob was also one of our special guests at the open house this Saturday, which was a great success. He brought his truck out there, and the people at the open house got to get up there in the truck. And you know, I saw he had the engine open, he had the whole thing open, and just we worked with a lot of different people. So I want to welcome Rob Sieberneck tonight to the webinar.
Hey, Rob.
Rob, you there? He was here a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm here, Andrew. Can you give me about 2 minutes? I got a phone call that came in.
Sure. Sure.
I appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
That was some beautiful equipment that he had, though, on Saturday, wasn't it, Andrew? I believe that was a 2012 or 2013 Kenworth. That's the super wide cab, and it had everything in it. My God, it was like a camper in there. It's, you know, like a small motorhome. Beautiful.
Well, and I mean, Rob is working for one of those companies, and he is what they call the road warrior.
Yes.
This last trip that he went out, he was out on the road, his choice, for 13 weeks. Now he's back home, and I guess he's off until next Monday. So he's got 7, 8, 9 days off. And you know, if you do that every couple of weeks, it's like having a vacation 4 times a year, because he earns so many days he's earned so many days, 1 day for every 6 days of driving, which is excellent. Also, he's located out of Greeley, Colorado, so they drive on a lot of snow as well. I hopped up in his truck there, Rob, and all up in the front seat there, he had cases of that stuff that keeps the diesel from freezing.
Right.
You know, and regular people like you and me don't think about that kind of stuff.
That's for sure. Yeah, Andrew, I was right, because I asked Rob, you remember I was saying this company is so large, they actually bought the Swift packing houses, the meat packing, they bought them about 3 years ago. It's a huge South American company. Rob's going to get into that, of course. But boy, I'll tell you something, there's no end. I guess they're growing like leaps and bounds, and they're looking for all kinds of people, good people, of course, to come aboard with them, and that's one of the reasons he stopped at the school, because he wanted to show off his equipment, which was gorgeous. It was really great.
Right. And JBS Carriers is actually a meat company. Started as a meat company out of South America. Yeah, Rob, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us a little.
I had actually a call from the office, actually. They called me. So I wanted to take that call.
Tell us a little bit about JBS Carriers.
JBS Carriers is the largest protein producer that's out there right now, and we cover all 48 states, recently Mexico now too, and then we actually do like a trailer swap when we get to El Paso. We let those people actually bring it in themselves. Now we're actually talking about going this year into Canada, even going there. But we also are in Japan, Germany, Australia, the European states yet too, because we do crates where we ship a lot of our beef over there yet also. This is a gentleman that actually owns the company and the trucking company. His name's Juan Ortiz. He lives in Brazil. But we're fairly large trucking company, a little over 825 trucks, but we're actually boosting it up to 2,000 trucks. We actually haul beef, pork, lamb, and chicken. We do. But the company, I really actually like working for them because we mostly deal with driving Kenworth and Peterbilt is what we drive. Matter of fact, if you pull up our site, you'll see a Peterbilt right on the front page of the website.
Okay. What types of driving do they have there? Do they do teams or solos or?
They do both, actually. The company leases the trucks is what they do, and we do the solo and teams. We do.
Okay, and of course they do hire recent graduates, as long as the graduates come from an accredited school, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I have a slide up right now, Rob, that talks about in 2011, the over-the-road drivers, the top over-the-road driver made more than $90,000 that year. The fleet average was well over $50,000. Experienced drivers can earn in the excess of $50,000 a year. Does that sound about right?
I think you had a little problem, Andrew. I think he's off right now.
Okay. All right. So the money there at JBS looks pretty good. They have a high demand for the services. We continue to expand with an eye towards becoming the largest refrigerated trucking company in the United States. And, of course, they drive 48 states and Canada.
I think, Andrew, last time when we was talking, I think also he said that teams make over 52 cents a mile, so that's pretty decent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge.
That is huge.
Like a lot of the other carriers, JBS is committed to safety and efficiency for their customers, for their solo drivers, for their team drivers. But that is also important. Rob told me that they don't keep their trucks, they lease them. They don't keep them for more than 2 years at a time. So again, another reason you want to go to a trucking company that has this type of equipment team.
Absolutely.
All right. Then it says hiring safe, qualified over-the-road drivers. JBS is still growing strong and has outstanding over-the-road opportunities that open for teams and for solos. And as soon as Rob gets back on, I want to talk about all of the different benefit packages that
Andrew,
JBS...
I'm back. Did I
Okay.
lose you?
Yeah,
No,
you
you
lost me
did,
for a
yeah.
minute there. We're just going to start to talk a little bit about the different types of benefits that JBS offers its drivers.
Yes, benefits, we have full benefits. Blue Cross Blue Shield out of Texas. This is, they take it out of that area for their insurance, and that's medical, dental, eyeglasses, flexible card, Visa card yet too, if you want to put money away. So like a lot of people actually have to take medication, or their family does, so they do it that way by putting money away, and then every year
That's all pre-tax,
reimburse it. Yeah, where it's tax-free as far as that part right now. Well, for right now it is. I don't know what's going to happen with this new medical thing with Obama, but that's there. And then as far as the trucks, the Peterbilt and Kenworths, we keep them usually around 450,000 miles or 3 years. That's what we usually keep them. Right now we're getting ready to vamp up to buy all brand new ones, actually, because all the Peterbilts, we're going to start replacing those, actually.
Okay. And when we talk about, they also offer tuition reimbursement to students?
Not at this time, as far as I know. I haven't heard anything about that, but we actually have where if anybody has over a year experience, we actually give a $6,000 sign-on bonus is what we do at this time.
Okay.
That's one of the questions that actually got asked me, and I haven't found it yet. I was supposed to find out that this week, actually.
Okay.
I'll
And
go
it
ahead
says here,
and
it says
I wrote
also,
it down to give the math.
okay, it also
What's
says
that?
here it also says here you got driver referral bonuses of $1,000.
Yes, $1,000. The first 3 months you'll get $300, and then after the year, the $700 will come to you after a year after that person stayed there.
Okay, very nice. And let me see what else we have here. Okay, when we're
We
looking
have
at,
also con data cards that are provided by the company where you get $200 a week to take care of lumper fees and cat scales. And we also have detention time and layover and breakdown pay. And also hotels expenses is paid for in case you got to, get out of your truck because your truck is broke down as far as that yet too.
okay, great. Well, also now trying to look at the different requirements that they have. It says you got to be 21 years of age, have a current CDL experience, maybe even with some over-the-road experience. No major violations is defined by the Motor Vehicle Carriers Regulations. Got to be accident-free. No more than 3 moving violations in the last 3 years. No DUI or DWI in the last 5 years. No felony convictions in the last 10 years. Now, if you're a CDL accredited school graduate, all those things apply as well. A CDL license, clean motor vehicle record, excellent work history, and a clean background check. So those are all good things. Talking about now money, the first year start out at about 33 cents a mile, and it quickly goes up, doesn't it, Rob?
Yes, it quickly goes up. We have 3 different ways to being hired. You can go for a regional job, which would be covering a certain area, and then you're pretty much home every weekend or every other weekend. And then how you collect days off is actually the amount of days that you're at, or amount of weeks you're out. So in other words, 1 week will be 1 day off, 2 weeks will be 2 days off. That's how it works on that part of it. Direct runs, we have like a triangle where you're going around delivering freight to different receivers, and then in turn come right back to the same plant is what you do. Okay. Matter of fact, on our website, I believe it does show you where all of our plants are and our terminals yet too. And we're expanding that also. We are as far as the terminals. And the last, at least, is the over-the-road drivers. It's the same kind of situation, but it's not time you want to spend out there as far as that. Matter of fact, this last holidays they actually gave extra cash for people to actually stay out there during the holidays. And it is paid 2 weeks paid vacation. You've got the option. You can go ahead and after a year, go ahead and collect the cash for it, or go ahead and just take 2 weeks with pay when if you want to do it that way.
Well, that's nice. Okay, now I have the different hiring area maps on, and again, they hire from all over the country depending upon need. Like you were hired out of Jupiter, Florida. They had a need at the time. Just because it's not lit up doesn't mean that you can't get hired. It's all going to be supply and demand. Is that right?
Correct. That's what it amounts to. I've heard that we got 6 drivers out of Gainesville, but the whole thing is they're bumping that up to 40 drivers. And when I was talking about, additional, from 825, we're going up to 2,000 drivers is what we want to try to go for as far as that.
So JBS will be looking for a lot of more drivers, pretty much, I would imagine, all over the country.
Correct.
Go ahead and open up
our
the
terminals.
phone.
Terminals. What we have is what's that?
What we're going to do is we're going to open up the phone lines and see if anybody has questions.
Okay.
You were saying about the terminals? Go ahead.
Okay, the terminals where we have them is the newest one is Gainesville, Georgia, is where that one is. We also have Green Bay. We also have Greeley, Colorado, which if someone gets hired, they'll be actually going there for their 3-day orientation, and then in turn, once you're hired, it's all up to the trainer if you're going to need a mentor to go with. And usually that's a 6 to 8 week plan where you ride with that mentor to learn, about call comm, safety, and a number of other things yet too. And there's also Cactus, Texas. There's a terminal over there. Let's see, Hiram, Utah. There's one there. And there's other places where they're talking about going. As far as terminals, we've been paving and cementing all of our trailer parking lots right now because we're expanding that where we're going to be able to drop more drop and hook trailers. So we're actually bumping that up to another 5,000 trailers.
Wow, it sounds like the JBS Carriers is one of those companies that we're going to have to watch out for in the next couple of years to see the growth.
Yeah, this is a self-owned company. We own everything, all of our buildings. The only thing we do is lease our trucks. And the main reason is because, things have changed the last couple of years with DEF and, a number of other things where fuel mileage is going to be, the point of it, on the trucks right now. So that's the reason why we're mostly leasing our trucks, and it's a better deal that Peterbilt and Kenworth has given us yet, too. Because they're all of our terminals actually have the mechanics right there to work on our trucks, actually, and our trailers.
Okay, now Rob, you came from 28 years of working in Comcast, basically tired of the the daily grind. How are you enjoying life out on the road?
It's been excellent, actually. I mean, there's a number of times I've actually, I've had to reset my clock, so I've done, like visit museums, and then went, snow skiing up north. I wanted to actually do some ice fishing recently here when I was up there in Minnesota, but never got a chance. They kept me moving pretty good as far as that.
Okay, and you're the kind of guy you love living out of your truck type of deal,
I do.
And your truck is gorgeous. It has all of the comforts of home. When I climbed in there the other day, you had your TV going and things like that.
Yep.
You even
A
cook
flat screen TV where you got an antenna on there. If you get inside the city, you can pick up between 25 to 50 channels actually on local antennas.
Wow, that's neat.
Out there.
That's very neat.
And then I got a refrigerator and microwave in there yet too. So, but that's stuff that I bought myself to put in that truck.
Okay, good. Okay, let's see if anybody has any questions. Go ahead and just raise your hand if you got a question for Rob. For JBS Carriers. All right. All right. Let's go to let's start with Joe Kimberly. Hey, Joe, what city and state you calling from, Joe? Your microphone's open, Joe. Go ahead.
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine, Florida. Great. What's your question for Rob Sieberneck?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. What's your question, Rob? What's your question, Joe?
How often do you get home in 30 days?
Rob, the question is, how often are you able to get home in 30 days?
In 30 days, it's up to you. I mean, if you only want to be out there 2 weeks, you'll get 2 days off. What it amounts to. You get 1 day off. Majority of trucking companies, that's
Rob,
pretty much how it works
Jake?
Not only us, but that's that way.
Okay. So JBS is one of those companies where, yes, JBS, you can be out there for 7 to 10 days, come home for a couple of days, a day or two, and then be out again. Or you could do what you do and stay out for 13 weeks. And collect
get
all
13
those other
days until the bank.
And collect all those other days. All right, let me just see if Joe had any other question there. Joe, did that answer your question? Joe?
Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Let me go to one more question here. Daniel, Cleveland. Let me get Daniel out there. Hi, Daniel.
How are you tonight?
I'm great. You're calling from New York, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's your question for Rob Sieberneck?
My question is pretty much you've named a couple of different cities that are quite a ways away from my hometown. Would I be out of a different hub? Would I have to relocate, or would I just
You wouldn't have to relocate. Actually, being in New York, if you want to work that area, you're more likely to be coming out of Green Bay to get your load and then head back up to New York and drop your load off. As far as that, and working around the East Coast is what you would be doing.
Definitely, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, Green Bay is an awesome area to work out. They got the people there at Green Bay. I mean, really great. The mechanics are awesome yet too there. That's a beautiful terminal yet also. As a matter of fact, the beef plant is right next door actually.
Okay. And my only other question would be is I was talking to different trucking institutes, and they were saying that I'd have to transfer my license because a couple of them were like in Buffalo. I've checked into the one in Phoenix, Arizona. I've checked into several trucking outfits. Yours definitely sounds more interesting because of the fact of being accredited.
You'll be able to. The whole thing is when you get your license, you want to get your license there in New York. So you know when you go home, if you got to get get recertified or whatever, at least you'll be able to do it there. Yeah. But that's what I do. I mean, it's where you're going to live is where you want to get that license. So once you get done with the schooling, you want to go ahead and take your test over there.
And Daniel, that's exactly what we do. Is you'll bring your permit from New York. You'll come down here. You'll do all of your training, and then we'll actually set your road test back up in New York. You will have a New York license.
Okay, that was my question.
Yep, and we take care of all that for you.
Okay, that was all I needed to know. I appreciate you answering my questions.
Very good.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, main thing you want to look at yet too when you're up there in New York is where you're going to park that vehicle yet too with JBS. I mean, as far as that yet also. Okay.
Right.
When you are at home. Okay.
All right. Very good, Rob. I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. Also, thank you for coming out on Saturday. If anybody wants to get a hold of Rob Sieberneck, they can call us at National at 1-800-488-7364. And if you know a driver already that has a license and has experience, they can contact Rob directly to go to get an interview at JBS. Rob, what's your number there?
Yes, the number is 561-309-8763. And folks, just to let you know, when you call me, I'm going to write down your name, your phone number. Hopefully, you have a cell where I can contact you one-on-one. That's the best way to get me is by my cell, and because it's free for me that way, as far as be able to talk to you. And if you text me, I can definitely call you back in case I'm sleeping. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rob, for being here tonight. And I will talk to you shortly.
Sounds great. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
Andrew, Rob. School, guys. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Thanks, Rob. And Rob Nelson, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the trucking industry itself and why do so many people want to drive a truck for a living? Now, first of all, there's a huge demand for drivers, and that huge demand equals job security. And when we talk about the truck driving shortage, this is a growing concern. Rob, you were telling me the other day that it's way over 400,000 drivers right now. As far as the shortage. No, to you, Rob Nelson.
Oh, yes, it's over 400,000 drivers. It's a hard figure to believe, isn't it? But that's listed up as one of the top calling areas because of the retirement and the need, and because everything now is they're very, very selective in who goes in. Not everybody can get into the industry because of their background. Right?
Now there is no shortage of people applying for professional truck drivers' jobs. Where the rubber meets the road is selecting the truly qualified drivers out of this large pool of people, the people that are going to qualify. The older generations are retired faster than the replacements can take the wheel. Why drive a truck for the living? The number one reason, the adventure. I get to go out, see the country, and I get paid to do it. The next reason people tell us, the freedom from the boss's heavy hand. And this is huge. If you come from an environment where you had an employer on your back all of the time, Rob Sieberneck is out there on the road now, and he's out there by himself. He's working for a great company, but his truck is his office, and pretty much he's out there on his own. He's making big money. Okay, so a lot of people like the trucking industry because naturally this is one of those industries that's never going to go away. They get that life insurance, that health insurance, the dental plans, the prescription plans, the accidental death and dismemberment, the health for themselves and the family in a very short period of time. Why drive a truck for a living? Disability. How about this, Rob? We open up every day when you're driving a truck. Your office is in a different location every day. And some of the sites...
never get bored on that, Andrew. That's for sure.
You know, some of the sites out there in the country today are just beautiful to see. And, you know, we always see the trucks from the outside, but I think there's a lot of people, even online with us tonight, that have never seen the trucks on the inside. And, Rob, now you've been doing this, 35 years.
34 years.
34 years. And the trucks have certainly changed quite a bit in that amount of time.
Sure. I mean, look at the interior. Let's go to the big picture on the left-hand side there. That's the interior. Notice the tufting of it so to keep for sound retention. The back up there, the little controls down there on the left that controls the heat, the air conditioner separate from the driver, so you have your own comfort zone. The TV there all set up for you. It's got a VCR and everything built in, of course. And, you know, just the bedding is large. You can bring your family, your wife, and so forth. Here's another one on the right-hand side. This second seat, your second driver's seat, turns right around. He's got his TV there. He's got his little set up his little tray there, which goes rolled into that where he can eat, and it just covers itself completely. The microwave is set up there. The rear window, of course. He's got all of these different things. Now, what Andrew's showing up on the top left, that's an older vehicle. But look at the older vehicle. Look at how that has with the wraparound dash.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
It's beautiful. Yes, it is. There's your favorite, Andrew.
This is my favorite. It's the Volvo, and I like the Volvo because when you climb up into the back of this truck, it's like driving a motorhome down the road. And I got a picture with the bunk up and with the bunk down. You know, it's like sitting in a little cafe almost driving down the road. Really, really nice. How many people online with us tonight, just by a show of hands, are thinking about maybe buying their own truck? Maybe and not right away, but maybe in a year or 2 years or 5 years from now, maybe going to buy their own truck. Go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, all of those people, you might want to consider a truck like this. This is an International, and those other two trucks we looked at, the Kenworths and the Volvos, a lot of the company trucks are going to use those. Take a look at this International. Rob, look at the dashboard.
Yeah, diamond plated. Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It has the backlit lights for easy comfort. But you know, look at the back. It has seating. It turns into bed. It has wood floors. Look at the cabinetry on there. The refrigerator, microwave. Of course, he's got a. I see. So he has also a power inverter as well.
Yeah, two of them there. Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and put all those hands down. If anybody's interested in owning their own truck, speak with your admissions representative about the independent trucker program. It works a lot like the regular truck driving program, but it talks about the business end of the trucking program. Now, Rob, there's a lot of different types of jobs, and I think that most people, when they come out of school, they come out as a company driver, not really so much as an owner-operator, and the majority are going to be over the road. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely, Andrew. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the reason being, this is a high-paying job. That's why Rob he's doing this, and he wants to make money. I mean, there's no end really to how long you can stay out there if you want to. It's a great pay scale. The bonuses and incentives are there. They get bonus incentives based on your performance too, besides your mileage pay. Top-of-the-line equipment, tuition reimbursement on most of the carriers that we work with, advancement opportunities, and of course, this is serious money and benefits combined. It's a whole new lifestyle. But the closest thing that you'll ever have is working for yourself because you are the boss, believe me.
Okay, now
over. They're relying on you. Sure.
Right. Now, there's another type of driving as well that's kind of like over-the-road driving, but you're home a lot more and that's your
Sure.
regional or your dedicated drivers.
Sure. Not everybody wants to run over the road, and that's understandable. You have regional, which hauls freight of all kinds. You know, it really remains in the same area, and it's usually weekly home time. You have great pay, steady runs, company benefits, and again, tuition reimbursement on most of the carriers out there. But anyway, this is an opportunity for somebody who wants to be home on the weekends. And they all, pretty much, a lot of the companies guarantee you will be there on Saturday and Sunday, and then leave on a Monday night. And that's usually or sometime early Sunday morning. It all depends on the carrier. These are the things you're going to find out when you get to the school, of course.
You know, sometimes I hear from my students, you know, it's like, well, if you go to this school or that school, you have to drive over the road. But coming to National, if you wanted to work local, you could do that as well, right?
We have that, of course, Andrew. You know, that's the nice thing. You know, but local driving, somebody's got to be handling the merchandise. It requires multiple stops. The guy who's delivering it to the stores, to the restaurants, and requires loading and unloading, but mostly unloading, most of them. Some jobs require special loading and unloading skills, of course. And the other one is pay, and the benefits are sometimes less than the regional or over-the-road driving jobs. But, you know, it's a little bit more work, but usually this is a person who wants to be home almost every night. And that's why it is a bit less. But,
you know, so
no guarantees.
Companies we're looking at, like for local, you know, might be the local beer distributors or the soda company distributors. It might be the restaurant supply houses.
Yeah, they do very well too, Andrew. There's a lot of them. They do very well, but the only difference is, you know, you're handling it. That's all.
Yeah, I have a guy that lived in Fort Myers. He's delivering gasoline out of the port Everglades, and he goes back and forth to Fort Myers 3 times a day. He makes $65,000 a year as a local driver.
Not too shabby.
Now, Rob, when we talk about money and the driver's pay scale, we always talk about, you know, drivers don't get paid by the hour. They get paid by the mile. And I always tell my students the entry level, 25 cents to 45 cents a mile. If you take your notes, you want to write that down. The U.S. Department of Labor Statistics, so they break it down to an hourly rate. And it says general freight trucking, average hourly is about $19.83, and that's across the board, across the country, or about $41,250 a year. Not bad money for a solo driver, is it?
Not at all. Sure.
Look at this grocery and related. 62,000 jobs in that field, 43,900. Again, that's a solo. In plain English, this isn't chicken feed. $700 to $900 a week. If you're a team driver, you can double or even triple that amount of money. So the money is way above average of other industries. Now, Rob, DOT or Department of Transportation driver qualifications,
sure.
They are a little bit picky there.
Yeah, they are a little bit picky, but this has been standard for years and years. As long as I've been in the industry, you have to be, of course, 21 years old or older. But no maximum age. We've had students right up to 70 years old at our school. As long as you can pass underneath pass the DOT physical and the drug screen. You got to read, write, and understand the English language, that's for sure. And the background that qualifies him or her to possess a CDL. And we won't make you eat all of your broccoli, that's for sure. And employers in national training have additional qualifications, of course, because we want to go through it a little bit more seriously than the DOT.
Okay, when we talk about our truck driving school and you know, people looking to get into our school, again, there's qualifications. Okay, and national training is going to review your driving record. They're going to talk about your criminal background. Check your physical abilities. The very first day of resident training is going to be a drug test. Okay. Most important, we want to know your intensity to succeed. You have to be able to go to work. You have to ensure that you're going to benefit from our training before you start. Are you employable? So what we go by is an ability to benefit program. You know, if you have the money, doesn't mean that you're going to get into our program. You have to have that ability to benefit from the program. Our unique hybrid program offers students superb flexibility. Students are able to study at their own pace. Students can work and complete much of the classroom requirement from the comfort of their own home. There's no sitting in a classroom for days on end wishing it's going to end. You know, when do I get in the truck? You're up in the truck the very first day because you're able to do the bookwork or the classroom work at home on the computer. Now, our driver's course includes all of the left-out subjects that you're not going to get at those CDL mills or the mom-and-pop schools. We're going to go over things like brakes, tires and wheels, electrical systems, load securement, fuel and fueling systems, principles of a diesel engine, principles of transmissions and differentials, frames, suspensions, axles, freight bills, all of the paperwork that needs to be done, coupling and uncoupling. You don't get those in a regular truck driving program. And in order to be a successful professional truck driver, these are things that you need to know. So big difference going to national and going to some of these other schools. Our 3-week in-residence hands-on program. Okay, this went a little bit quick. Let me just do that again. You're going to start out the very first day doing general knowledge, driving the roads, working the backing pad, using that 1.25 mile highway, the pre-trip inspections. You're going to spend a lot of time on the backing pad. Again, 120 hours of hands-on with the equipment. Rob, here's the pearl of national training, and that is that
yes,
of that 350 acres.
Yes. I want everybody to look at this because this is so important. You know, this is where your life is going to start right here. That 1.25 mile roadway, regular speeds. You're not getting intimidated. You're flushing all of that. Remember, folks, you're driving a 70-foot vehicle by yourself out there. You're going to start out with somebody, and then we're going to be leaving you alone just to get the feel of it. And then, of course, there's our backing and docking area. You can see the slots right there. And just where they are backing in on the blind side and the right side and so forth, close order drill. And this is where we're going to do our pre-tripping and so forth. This is our big thing here. This is where we want to make sure that you're ready to go on the highway. And you're going to spend a couple of days here, and then from there you're going to go right out and major highways leading out to I-95, 295, the interstate, secondary roads, and all the rest of the thing. Now there where Andrew had that little pointer, we're going to set those cones up. You're going to be backing in between them. That was kind of a neat thing. It's really a challenge. Everybody has a great time, but it's a learning ability. We are going to give the testing right there. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what's kind of cool about that too, Rob, is you're never standing around doing nothing. There's always
doing something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
you're backing.
You don't get that. You don't get that in those mom and pop schools.
Absolutely not.
Now, we do have people online tonight from all over the country. We had Daniel from New York and we had people from Colorado and Pennsylvania and New Jersey and South Florida. Where do I stay? The answer is you can stay anywhere you want. But if you're looking for the best deal, we do suggest the Green Cove Springs Inn. This is located within 7 miles from the training grounds. Green Cove Springs did something very special for National. They made a bunch of their rooms double occupancy, so you can share a room with another student. There's a refrigerator, microwave, air conditioner, TV, telephone, free local and long-distance calls, free Wi-Fi, okay, and special rate for a national training student, $23 a night. So if you're there for 3 weeks, including the weekends, $420. And I stayed there this past weekend for the open house, and it's just a pleasure to stay there. It's clean, it's quiet. They even have barbecue grills out in the back, charcoal grills. So you go do your shopping and even do that. It's a lot of fun. On day one, you're up in the truck. You're not sitting in a classroom doing boring classroom stuff. Day one, you're up in the truck. Here's a student and an instructor going over that dashboard inch by inch. Rob, you want to talk about the trucks a little?
Sure. We run everything because, when you leave the school, we're not sure who you're going to go on with, but we want to make sure that you carry on with a little bit of everything from our cab over sleepers to the conventional condos to the sleeper cabs, which you see out there, and the day cabs. because, again, there's a variety of equipment that you're going to be able to get into without having any hesitation because you've got a taste of them all at our school, which is great.
Our graduates, I think
Andrew,
the
we
number...
don't discuss
Go ahead,
one
Rob.
particular thing, Andrew, is, we do night driving there, too. I think that's so important. That's the big thing, It's just, we forget about saying that. That's one of our things that we're quite...
Yeah, there's not very many schools left that actually do that.
No, and that's so important, for sure.
Rob, I think the biggest testament, though, is our graduates. Our graduates, when they come for that 3 weeks, not knowing a lot about the trucking industry, and by the time they leave, they have friends, networks of, 15, 20 people that are all going out working for different companies. They most of the time stay in touch with each other. And probably the best people that come back to National are the referrals from those different graduates. Take a look at what some of our graduates are saying. This is Michael Carlisle. Michael chose National Training because of our program would provide him with the most behind-the-wheel driving time. Now, while in school, Michael received 4 serious offers of employment even before he graduated. Pretty good. Here's Mark Albert, and I like Mark's story because he's kind of a guy like me. He's a former insurance salesman. He was a manager in a factory. He didn't want to sit behind a desk anymore. He chose National because of our great reputation with a professional admissions team and our location. Now, we're located there in Green Cove Springs, Florida. Mark came from Keene, New Hampshire, and he was down here last January where it was 21 below zero in Keene, New Hampshire, and he was down here at a about 70 degrees. Not bad at all. And here's Marissa Giles, and Marissa served 22 years in the Marine Corps. We thank her for her service. Our training format allowed her to train in her new career while she was still on active duty. And we've graduated many, many military veterans over the past 20 years. And now Marissa is doing team driving with her husband, driving all 48 states. Rob, you want to talk about job placement and career services, that graduate to work program?
Yes, one of my favorite topics, Andrew. We've been perfecting this graduate to work program for over 33 years, and it does really work. The Career Services Department starts working with the students, not the end of our session or the 3 weeks, or the middle, the first day. This is where you're sitting down with our guidance counselors and trying to get you knowing to know what you're going to be doing. Some students want to work local. Some want to go over the road. Some want to run regional. Some want to run refrigerators. Some want to run box trailers. We've got this idea that we can just not push you into something that you don't want to do. We want to know about you and what your feelings are for where you want to go. And this is what we do, of course. This is important. This is our placement process. And, of course, we use the private counseling sessions to direct our students to companies that would be good to match both the company and the student. That's the best thing we can do for the company also.
Now, Rob, not everybody wants to come and be a road warrior. Not everybody wants to work local.
Not at all, Andrew. And this is the thing. We're going to be working with that individual to making sure that he feels comfortable in his guidelines of where he's going to go. And it is a big thing with us, certainly. Because everybody's going to be happy then, and that's what we do.
All right, let's talk about the cost, the fees, the financing, things like that. Whenever I talk about the cost things or financing, value always pops into my head. Value, of course, is a noun, the worth in goods, services, or money of an object or a person. Does job security have value? Think about that. What value does health benefits for you and your loved ones hold for you? What's the steady income worth to you and your family? Do you want the necessities of life today for you and your family? What's that worth to you? Have you ever invested in anything? Whether it be real estate, maybe the stock market, or maybe, your investment was your house. What is the safest investment? If you know what the safest investment is, go ahead and raise your hand if you know what the safest investment is. Hey, Daniel's got it. That's right. The safest investment is you. Don, Jeff, okay, good. Quality education doesn't cost, it pays. It gives you that steady income. It gives you that lifetime worth of benefits, job security, independent lifestyle, opportunity for advancement, the retirement plans, the 401ks, get to travel, get to see the country, and of course the annual paid vacations. National Training's tuition cost is very affordable, and depending upon the individual's needs and qualifications, the tuition cost is about the same, a little bit less than a semester of college. After 1 year at an average income of around $50,000, that means over a 20-year period, you made over $1 million with an initial investment of not much money at all. Let's talk about what that means. Here's two examples. It's on every guy's and some girl's wish list. Fast cars and fast motorcycles. And, you know, I went in and I checked out this Gold Wing 2011. It's going to be $22,000, $899. Then I thought about that whole depreciation thing. You know, you drive the car off the lot. What's it going to be worth? So I went and I checked out one that's about 5 years old, 2008, and the bikes look identical except for the color. But I could have picked the 2008 up for $5,400. Okay, so basically in 1 quarter is the depreciation. Okay, I could have gone to truck driving school. Okay, take a look at this 2012 Z6, $92,000. A lot of money to spend on a car. To drive it off the lot 5 years later, what's it worth? $32,460. Okay, a little bit less than a month's depreciation. I could have gone to truck driving school. A little less than a month's depreciation. I could have gone to truck driving school. It's all good. We have it all. After all, we've been doing this for a really, really long time. We have the companies and we have the jobs. We have industry recognition. We have impeccable governmental relations. We have a program that's really fun to complete. We have an awesome training facility, 300 acres, over 4,000 graduates. Came here, everyone, every tuition financing, everyone. Rob, I don't think we've ever placed a financial need. Is that right?
Anybody down as far as financing and or no, absolutely not.
Okay, great. All right. We have extra benefits for our fighting men and women. That is huge. We accept active duty tuition assistance and special tuition pricing for our active men and women. We appreciate our students from the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, post 9/11, Department of Vocational Rehab, our state voc rehab offices, our state workforce programs around the country, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Let me put those hands down real quick. How many of you are worried about getting a job? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're worried about getting a job upon completion. Everybody raise their hand if you're worried about getting a job. Everybody that has their hand up, I'm going to offer you a free pre-hire or a semi-pre-hire where we'll check out your background, no cost or no obligation. We're going to compare them to these 23 different trucking companies and give you a percentage of how many of those companies would hire you based upon your background. Everybody that's got their hand up is entitled to that. All you need to do is call us at 1-800-488-7364. I'll give you the link to do your background. And again, there's no cost and no obligation. Also, I want you to know there's a way to get a no-cost motel. Okay, we talked about $420 for the 3 weeks. When you call to get your free pre-hire or employer trend, it's called. Ask us about how to get that free hotel as well. How many of you have gone other training options that was meant to start you in the trucking industry? Raise your hand if any of these things are you. I looked into other commercial schools. The curriculum offered was just like good value. Raise your hand. I received motor training in the military, but found out my experience to the civilian trucking industry was very difficult to do. I had a bad experience lesson when I signed up for free training from a so-called reputable trucking company claimed they needed drivers from my dad in the newspaper. This is the first training option I've investigated. Okay, quite a few hands. Okay, I'm getting a message here that my volume is cutting out a little. How many of you have student loan debts to pay from classes and training that did not pan out? Raise your hand. I was able to devote so many months to class. It was nothing, and I quickly felt it was a not investment of my time and my resources. Good. Okay, let me put those hands down. Quite a few there. See if we have one more of those, I think. Nope. Okay, it's time for some questions. If you have a question that you want to, we'll open up the microphone. Some of you are on the telephones now. I see you got off the microphone. You wanted to ask questions. Raise your hand and we'll open up either your microphone or your telephone. Okay, I have a question here from Mary Ed White. She says, I already have a CDL Class B license, a CDL Class A permit, and I work Monday to Friday. Do you have any evening classes that can fit my schedule? Mary, yes. Let me tell you how it works. You can do all of your book work or your classroom work at home in the evenings, but you still would have to do 3 weeks of hands-on training in Green Cove Springs, Florida, and that's Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 5:30 in the afternoon. But what's cool about this, Mary, is you can go ahead, keep your job, do all the book work, and do all the classroom work. Okay? Anybody else have questions, go ahead and raise your hand or write them in the box. I have a couple of quick announcements. Special announcements. Our next truck webinar is Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow night, we also are going to conduct our heavy equipment webinar. And if some of you tonight, we talked about the DOT qualifications and the school qualifications. Do not count yourself out of trucking. If you have some felonies or DUIs or something in your background you think might hurt you, I would encourage you, though, stop by the heavy equipment webinar tomorrow night, and you can find that at www.earthmoverschool.com, www.earthmoverschool.com, and register for tomorrow night's webinar. I think that you'll find the construction industry is a lot more tolerant for people that have a past or a background. So the job may be easier there. Our next open house is going to be Saturday, February 23rd. We had a great open house this past Saturday. As we said, Rob Sieberneck was there. He was one of our special guests. We also had Covenant Transport. I believe on the 23rd we're going to have Comcar Industries. They represent 5 different companies. Covenant said they want to come back as well. And I'm sure that we'll have 1 or 2 other trucking companies there as well, and maybe even some construction companies. So if you're anywhere within a couple of 100 miles of Green Cove Springs, you don't want to miss the open house. Our students there you get to talk to the current class. You get to speak to instructors. You get to speak to employers. Plus, we have a pretty nice lunch. We had a big hot dog barbecue this weekend, which was really nice. Rob, I want to thank you for hosting this evening. I want to thank everybody.
My pleasure, Andrew.
I want to thank everybody for attending. National Truck Driving Training's webinar. I'm going to ask everybody, please contact your representative or our admissions office first thing tomorrow. 1-800-488-7364. Your lost time is costing you big money. It's all good. Just make sure you call. Don't forget about getting the free pre-hire. Don't forget about maybe getting that motel for free if you live within further than 50 miles from the training facility. Well worth it. Rob, you want to tell everybody how to get out of the webinar tonight?
Sure. Real easy, folks.